You are not going to believe this report coming out of the elections on Tuesday. You're not going to believe who was arrested, but I think you're going to believe why he was arrested. Strap yourselves in. You're about to see a real case of clear and blatant election fraud caught in the act.
The mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S. but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges the mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
Yes, you heard that right. You heard all of that right. A citizen of Mexico was just caught illegally voting multiple times in U.S. elections. And as if it couldn't get worse, he got caught after having just been re-elected mayor. Joe Ceballos has indeed just been arrested and charged with 6 felonies for election fraud the day after he won re-election as mayor of the small town of Coldwater, Kansas. And by the way, just so you know, Ceballos has no party affiliation, okay? He's not a Democrat. I know that's where the first thing people say, he's got to be a Democrat. Well, no, not necessarily. He's technically neither Republican or Democrat. In Kansas, most local municipal elections, including those for mayor and city council, are nonpartisan. Candidates don't run under a party label. But Coldwater is very small. It's under 1,000 residents. But as you would expect with a small Kansas town, I mean, Coldwater is very conservative. They're they voted nearly 85% for Trump in November. So I'm sure this guy's a great guy, but not only can you not vote as a non-citizen, but obviously you can't run for office either, certainly not in Kansas. I mean, you have to wonder, if he already had a green card, which he did apparently, why not just become a citizen? What's the problem? Regardless, he is now facing more than 5 years in prison, up to $200,000 in fines. But of course, this is but a microcosm of what is happening all over the country. It's one of the reasons why I believe Trump is so focused on mass deportations of illegal migrants, particularly in blue states or in cities like Chicago. Blue states have engaged for years now in the deliberate attempt at basically replacing their depleting populations with illegals and getting them counted on the census, which they were in 2020, and then, if possible, get them filling out ballots. And as we're seeing here in Kansas, unfortunately, it's not limited to just blue states. Kansas Secretary of State Scott Schwab just revealed something, well, frankly, very disturbing. This case was just the beginning. Thanks to the Trump administration implementing something called the SAVE database, which is a federal system that allows states to verify citizenship status, Kansas has started cross-referencing voter rolls with immigration records. And what they're finding is just, it's frankly stunning. What's so interesting here is that the Secretary of State, Schwab, he admitted that originally he was actually rather skeptical about the extent of non-citizen voting. That is until Kansas started using this database. Now, he's telling Attorney General Kobach to prepare for what he called, quote, a busy workload, because they're finding a lot more cases of non-citizens voting. It turns out this small-town mayor is just the tip of the iceberg. We have little details. He's not giving us itemized data of what he's found, but he's just said this is big. This is far bigger than anything that Schwab had imagined before he saw that citizenship verification database. Now, of course, this all brings to the fore the absolute non-negotiable importance of proof of citizenship voting. Texans went to the polls on that same day, just this last Tuesday, and voted on a ballot initiative that would amend their constitution to require proof of citizenship for all voters. It passed overwhelmingly. Of course, it's Texas. But Texas isn't alone. Thus far, 8 states, including Kansas, have passed similar laws, but only 4 have been able to implement them because of these freaking activist judges who are striking them down, including the proof of citizenship requirement in Kansas. The 4 states that have been successful in implementing proof of citizenship are Arizona, New Hampshire, Ohio, and Wyoming. But that's it. That's it. 4 states. So why is that so hard to do? Well, obviously, it's because Democrats want to be the ones in control of who gets to vote. It's the same reason they want control over you and your finances. So this is why President Trump has made it absolutely clear the future belongs to those who embrace financial sovereignty, right? Independence from the old economic system that the elites still manipulate and control. Now, he's been talking a lot about Bitcoin, crypto, and decentralized finance like never before because he knows what we all know. The old globalist system is collapsing and a patriot-led economy is rising in its place. Right now, we're watching the old financial order, the Wall Street globalist system, crumble under its own corruption. For decades, they've used our savings, our pensions, and our taxes to prop up a system that enriches them and enslaves us. But gang, those days are over. That's why I am so excited to tell you about my friends at Economic Ninja. They're building the future of finance, one that's decentralized, secure, and built for freedom-loving patriots like you and me. Here's how it works. The Economic Ninja gives you the tools and training to learn, trade, and earn in the new digital economy through their crypto masterclass without having to rely on big banks or the bureaucrats in D.C. You get to take back control of your wealth, your future, and your freedom. I've been going through the Ninjas trainings, and gang, they're absolutely amazing. And I might just say, I've already seen the financial results. And what I love about these guys is that they share our vision. This isn't just about money. It's about building a financial world rooted in a system where you can grow your wealth while staying true to your conservative values. This step-by-step crypto masterclass is a full guide to generational wealth for all. Even if you've never touched a coin or started learning about crypto, this masterclass is the real deal, and it's available right now. So don't sit on the sidelines while history's being made. Go to ninjadefipro.com/Turley. That's ninjadefipro.com/Turley. Just click on the link below and discover how patriots like you are building the next great financial civilization. Because the truth is, we're not escaping the old system. We're replacing it. Go there now and let's build this golden age together. This latest incident is a chilling reminder that illegal voting is real. I mean, if it's happening in a small town in a red state like Kansas, can you imagine what's going on in our urban centers in blue states across the country? The Heritage Foundation recently launched a database documenting at least 1,400 proven cases of election fraud over the last several years, including numerous cases of non-citizen voting. And just so we're clear, these are just the cases that were caught and reported. Heritage emphasizes this represents only a sampling of fraud, not a comprehensive count. Obviously, for every case of fraud that's caught, there are cases that go undetected. So we actually don't really know how truly widespread this is. But again, if it's happening in tiny towns in Kansas, again, why wouldn't it be happening in urban areas where Democrat mayors and prosecutors deliberately look the other way? Now, there's a solution to this besides the mass deportations that are currently underway. And that is definitely a solution. But it's called the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act stands for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. This is a Trump-backed, Republican-backed legislation that would fundamentally change how Americans register to vote by requiring documentary proof of U.S. citizenship for all federal election voter registrations. The SAVE Act mandates that voters provide specific citizenship documents when registering to vote or updating their voter registration, including moving addresses. So acceptable documentation is, the standards: real ID, compliant license indicating citizenship, a valid U.S. passport, birth certificate, naturalization papers, whatever. But the key here is that standard driver's licenses would no longer suffice for registration in most states. So that would mean we'd basically be seeing the end of the Department of Motor Vehicles voter registration drives, right, where they register basically anyone and everyone. The bill also requires states to audit existing voter rolls using federal databases, just like Kansas officials use with the SAVE database, and remove anyone flagged as a non-citizen. So it's just a routine, constant audit and a constant purging of the rolls. It's the obvious solution, but it would completely destroy the Democrats' plans of importing their new constituents. So, of course, the Democrats are blocking the SAVE Act by virtue of the Senate filibuster, which is yet another reason why Trump wants the Republicans to crush and end the filibuster. It has, in effect, completely stalled congressional legislative rule. The irony is the House passed the SAVE Act back in April with relatively bipartisan support. 4 Democrats crossed over and voted yes, but it's completely bogged down in the Senate. There are a few Democrat senators who could cross the aisle, John Fetterman, for example, but not nearly enough to overcome the 60-vote threshold. In the meantime, as we're seeing in Texas and a number of other solid red states, they are taking proactive measures to protect their voter integrity. Obviously, our election system should not run on mere trust. It should run on verification. This Kansas case proves that without proper safeguards, non-citizens will end up indeed voting. And some, incredibly, will even get elected to positions of power. The only question is, how many more are out there?